Hi there, this is Adam Olesen with AUDIOVISIONS Smart Stack. We are here today with Ryan Casey of TRC Development. Coastal California rooted and built on decades of experience, Ryan Casey and TRC Development Company represent a thoughtful blend of legacy craftsmanship and forward-looking residential construction. Specializing in high-end custom homes and luxury estates throughout coastal Orange County, TRC is known for its exceptional attention to detail, meticulous planning, and deeply collaborative approach with architects and designers. Founded by father-son duo Tim and Ryan Casey, TRC combines over 40 years of construction management experience with modern project management systems and a clear-eyed understanding of value, timing, and long-term performance. As Ryan helps lead the next chapter of the firm, TRC continues to shape a new standard for building refined, enduring homes that are designed for how people truly live today and how they will live tomorrow. Welcome, Ryan.
Thanks for having me.
Want to just start by give me a brief description for those that might not know you yet. Just a first minute or so. What's TRC all about? What are you all about?
TRC, we do, I would classify as luxury home building. So we're the general contractor. We manage, from pre-construction to all the way to move in with our clients. Typically, depending on how early they bring us in, we'll help with some floor plan stuff or just our recommendations and whatnot. And then from move-in, it's helping with setting up all the systems and then sourcing furniture if they need that, or just kind of that stuff. So kind of start to finish, dirt to fully done.
Okay, great. And then, so your main markets are going to be Orange County coastal.
Yeah.
And so you've done a lot of homes in Shady Canyon, Crystal Cove. Talk me through just briefly what those locations have been driven by.
So the Shady Canyon stuff was before I came on board, but my dad and his business partner, they were doing houses there, and Shady Canyon was a new development at the time. It was an Irvine Company development, and so there were vacant lots there. And so they started building spec homes there, where they would acquire a lot, build the house, and then sell it to an end user. In Shady Canyon, I think they sold every house in framing, so before it was done. And then during the recession, there was a house that closed in Crystal Cove, and my dad and his business partner Tom Haig, they looked at that and kind of thought like, hey, maybe they made money there.
Yeah.
And they went to Crystal Cove, and the first couple lots they bought were actually from people who had already acquired land, and they kind of sold it at a loss. And that was maybe like their first 3 projects. And I think to date they've done 11 houses in Crystal Cove, and that's where we've been since 2000. I want to say like 2010, 2012 time frame.
And that's where I met you the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah, directly next door to a house that we were doing.
Yeah.
Just updating a minor Savant system for them, and that's how we got started.
Yeah.
Great. What principles do you think have remained constant throughout, no matter what styles or technologies have changed?
I mean, like, doing it right the first time is cheaper than fixing it. Like, that's just in general. I think having a good crew, it's interesting in the standpoint of a lot of the construction projects we do are there's no client involved until the very end. So now we do 4 client builds, but in the past it was just an end user that you would bring in. So like they would meet the HVAC person, plumber. Audio video is actually the most client facing sub, like by far of any sub. So you just want to have like, the way I would look at it is you want everything to be really buttoned up. Because like as soon as it's like a new client who hasn't been involved, doesn't necessarily know you, as soon as they start to notice like, hey, like why doesn't that work, or why there's a crack there, then I think it kind of, I don't want to say snowballs, but all of a sudden you just kind of would be more, your tendency is to look at like more things closely, versus like if from the get-go everything's lined up, working good, high quality, then it's easier to earn trust, I'd say.
100%, yeah, I definitely I would echo that. Doing things right the first time is pays off in spades.
Yeah.
Right. And it shows credibility and earnest. Right. And so this is and you have found obviously clear success with that. So
Trying to.
When did you kind of take over from your dad, or was that unofficial?
He'd like it to be yesterday. I handle. So we founded the company in 2019, and then started our first project in 2020. And then I was helping them out with. They did a partnership with an investment group to build a spec house, and I helped finish that. And then moved in one of there's like the former company. I was working essentially for that former company in 2019, and then in 2020 we had our first TRC job, and then since then we've been doing projects there and wrapping up the old company job. So
was that the one you were talking to me about that was sold at a record level?
20 Coastline's probably what it was. That sold in 2024. That was a TRC build. Yeah.
Okay, but that didn't start in 2020.
That started in 2021.
Okay.
Potentially, or 2021. We sold it in. Well, we got CVO in April 24, so that took about 33 months. So that probably would have been like a late 2021.
Yeah, working with your dad, growing up on construction sites. Right. What was like how old were you the first time you remember being on a construction site with your dad and Tom Haig?
Oh, I mean, just that was like my whole childhood. We'd always be there. It was really fun. It was really cool to see how the styles changed. So Shady Canyon is very Spanish style homes. So like dark wood, which is definitely out of style, dark cabinetry, that's kind of changed. And then but the other thing too is Shady Canyon has like architectural guidelines that the community needs to have, not necessarily for the inside, but for the exterior, which I really like. I think the landscaping there is awesome. It's like very lush, and I just think it's cool, and I love the Spanish style homes. And then I was actually thinking about this the other day. It's like 4 Coral Ridge we built, and that sold, and that had super tall baseboards. We did Venetian plaster on the interior, which I don't recommend, because if you mess up a wall, you have to redo the whole wall because it's plaster. That was like a very French style type thing, still with the big wood beams. So like that's totally changed, and now everything's like, I'd say like a little bit lighter colors, more beige, modern. Now the wood is now getting darker, back to like that side of stuff. So it's the coolest part's always been seeing the finished homes, and then just kind of how it changes and whatnot, and how styles.
And do you often work with designers, interior designers, that kind of push?
So my dad, Tim Casey, was business partners with Tom Haig, and they co-owned Haig Builders. And then Tom's brother, Todd Haig, has always been, like, I would call him an architectural designer. Mm-hmm. So Todd literally picks out everything. He picks out the stucco color, the exterior paint color, the wood flooring stain, the cabinet color, plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, door handles. Just like, if you see it, it's kind of crazy to think about it, but like everything needs to be decided.
Oh yeah.
Like, what knobs you use, light fixtures, plumbing fixtures, stone tile. So then Todd always did all that.
And not now though.
No, we're still working with him.
You're still working with Todd?
Yeah, currently we're doing a project for one of a client that bought one of our spec homes. They have another house, and we're building them a house for. It's kind of one of the things about the houses we build, like in Crystal Cove specifically, is not a lot of people live in homes of like 3-story homes prior to moving in there. So you have the basement, garage, movie theater, gym, first floor living area, and with maybe like 1 or 2 bedrooms, and then the second floor is typically like where most of the bedrooms are in the master bedroom. Yeah. It's a lot of stairs.
It's a lot of stairs. Okay.
So this house.
There's an elevator.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't use the elevator, interestingly. But yes, we do have an elevator in pretty much all our houses. So this house we're currently building, they're a little bit of an older client, and then there's a junior primary suite,
Yeah.
and that's on the first floor, so you could do full first floor living.
Got it. Yeah. So keeping all these things in mind for the next 20, 30 years of that house, right? That always goes into it, especially with the caliber that you're building.
Try to.
Okay. I would actually want to ask, because I think it's kind of interesting. You had said mentioned it one time where all your homes, or most of them, have that you built. You want a theater in there, a dedicated theater, right? When sometimes we have heard from certain designers or sort of the industry saying that that's the trend was moving away from a dedicated theater, and now in a way it's kind of moving back. Have you seen that?
One thing I'd say too is like, I think you guys, being in the industry, you're a lot more exposed to like these trends and whatnot. And then you guys also service LA, which I think, because of the movie industry, and then it's also just a bigger market, I think you guys are more knowledgeable about those say trends or whatnot.
Of course, would like to have them, but
part of the deal too is like, what do you do with a house that's like so big? 'Cause it's like no one needs a 7-8 bedroom house, or maybe, but like, so part of the deal is like, when you get to like 10,000 square feet plus, it's like you got to fill the space.
Right.
And so I think a theater is pretty standard at that price point. Yeah, I don't know of too many houses without movie theaters.
Got it.
Especially if they have a basement.
Especially if they have a basement, yeah. So it's almost out of necessity, right?
Yeah, it's just what are you gonna do if you think about it? You can have a huge and that's the other thing too, is a little bit different for us. We with the spec homes, you never know who your end buyer is going to be, so it's like you want to have a mix of like a big garage, because a lot of people, families are car people, and then you want a big wine cellar. Some people are wine, and then you want a movie theater, and a gym. And I think those are kind of probably what you put those for in the basement, I would say.
Right, exactly. So then allocating that space accordingly.
Yeah.
And being smart about it.
Yeah.
You don't put in a massive theater in a really small garage. So was there ever a point that you were? I mean, it sounds again, all the homes that you've been building is of a certain caliber. Did you ever have a point where you were like, no, hey, technology, I'm going to be a little hesitant on it, or we're going to scale that back a bit because it's not very good right now? Or just talk me through that.
Well, we were talking before we started here about what it was in the past. So like, I remember Kaleidoscape, where you download the DVDs. Yep. And that was like, I think you did that with just ceiling speakers in a family room. But that was like Shady Canyon. That would have been like an audio video package.
Yep.
It's a Kaleidoscape system with that. And then there wasn't lighting control. You just had the switches on the walls. And then it kind of evolved in the Crystal Cove homes to that. I don't know when like Control 4 and Savant kind of switched over on the racks. It probably, like whenever Netflix went digital, it's probably a big trend for you guys. But then there was Crestron lighting control, which back in the day, no one liked because the programming was so hard. I didn't have to do that, but I heard complaints about it.
Many hours.
And then I'm not sure if this is true, but I think the way Savant got started was the founder of Savant was an Apple employee or somehow related to like Apple, and he built a house with Crestron lighting control, and he's like, this is so frustrating, I'm just going to start my own company.
Yep. That's the ethos of it, 100%.
Yeah, and so that's kind of cool. And then now I'd say the two big players, there's like two buckets. So there's lighting control of Vantage and Lutron, and then there's I would say there's like audio video security, which is, I'd say, like Control 4 and Savant.
Control 4 and Savant,
yeah. And then now in those homes, they're pretty standard. As the builder, I just want whatever system we have to work. And then if we have a client, it's nice, they get to pick, and then I don't have like issues in terms of why not this or that. Sure. One thing that's interesting, I also was thinking about this, is like, at the caliber of these homes, you don't have a lot of young buyers.
Sure.
So and I think in LA, there's probably more younger people, especially with the movie industry, who are into technology. But in like Orange County, you're now just starting to get people, like a new buyer. Someone just recently bought one of our old spec homes, and he's in the tech industry, and you can kind of tell he's very handy, like on his phone, and wants the apps and stuff like that. Yeah. Whereas like the last spec home we sold, the couple is, they're in their 70s, and like the wife she wants absolutely nothing to do with anything. So it is interesting, like how give me a button, exactly. It is like now it's kind of starting to catch up where like even the older people are a little bit more tech savvy, whereas it's in the past no one asked about audio video when we sold a house, and now it's definitely a conversation.
And I would almost say it comes down to how it was executed and what people have had in the past. Like if they've ever had a bad experience, it's like, okay, God forbid, I don't want that again. Right?
Yes.
We always likened it to, most of the systems are good out there. It's really going to live and die by who designs it, engineers, and services it for life, right?
Yeah.
And that's going to almost always dictate the experience.
Yeah.
I like that. That was really good. The Kaleidoscape system is kind of interesting because that used to handle not only video but CDs as well.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, you could download CDs.
Spotify was very, very new. Pandora was new at the time. But like, how did you do music? And then there was like a plethora of music systems out there that I'm sure we could list off. And you're like, oh God, yeah, I remember that. It was crap.
Yeah, and then I remember it was big to do like outdoor speakers. Yeah. To have that. I don't, it's funny now that you mention it. Like I don't remember quite how like how you would control the Kaleidoscape to play outdoors like back in the day, because now we have all the little wall mounts.
Exactly.
But I hadn't thought about that in years until this.
Problems to have, right?
Yeah.
What I like so much about AUDIOVISIONS is because they are one of the oldest integration firms in California. Having looked back at those previous systems that like we've updated decade after decade, it's like, well, how did this start? And you're like, oh, the system that was originally here is like completely different now, but all the infrastructure is just about the same. So I have an idea. So the one question would be, when it comes to a spec home, you had mentioned, you really don't know what the client is going to want at the end of the day. What sort of steps do you take to almost cover all the bases, as it were, to give them those options in the future?
I mean, fortunately at like the price level we're delivering homes, you do really give them everything. So you have a lighting control package. We have pre-wire for shades typically, and that we don't, which is also part of like the home audio video system. That we don't integrate because some people like they rather than shades they like drapery. Yeah. So you just don't know, but that's pre-wired. So it's kind of what you do is you just make sure that they can do whatever they want. So a home audio video company, we typically don't put TVs in bedrooms, but there's a wire and an Ethernet cable in all bedrooms that's in the wall with backing for, a wall mount, and then Ethernet cable at where we think there'd be a desk. Usually there's two. Yeah. So that's kind of what you do, I'd say, to get ready for it. And then in terms of picking like what systems you use, that's just a matter of who the developer, what they have had success with in the past, what's the budget and stuff like that. So
they're confident in.
Yeah.
And they know who's going to service it for a long time.
Yes. Yeah.
What excites you most about the future of design build for TRC?
I mean, just doing it. It's really cool to build like the houses we're building. They're structurally challenging. Like we have like $200,000 of steel going in, and like this, on a 40-foot span, there's just crazy columns that we have to implement, and then the finishes are also really nice. So like you get to be kind of at the forefront of, I'd say the interior design and see what's what's in style at the time. So I always think like the powder rooms, for example, like like if you have a guest over, the powder rooms, like the bathroom that the guests will typically use, we always do those in like a really cool style, whether it's a funky stone or like a, you know, we do a gold tile on all the walls and like a cool in-wall plumbing fixture. I think like, or we'll do some funky wallpaper. Those are really fun to kind of execute. And so it's just interesting to see and to be a part of kind of like the new style. Because a lot of it too is you see like the interior designers, they're like taking from everywhere. So it's like a photo they saw that, hey, I like this color, but I want to do this ceiling. Or it's like another bathroom they saw and you're going to do, okay, I'm going to do this countertop style, and then I'm, you know, or is it going to be like an integrated sink where the sink's made out of stone and stuff like that. So like it's fun to see that and be a part of that in terms of, and I don't get to choose, I just like observe.
Well, it sounds like, I mean, you appreciate it.
I do appreciate it, yeah, but I like to just appreciate and just get the answers and I go execute. I don't, no opinions on it. But that's a really cool thing. And then also it's like, you know, I'm very fortunate that the homes we build, they're of a higher end caliber. So like, you know, usually it's in a beautiful neighborhood with like a gorgeous view. So like the current house we're building, you know, I have a meeting, a framing meeting, and you're looking down and it's like Newport Harbor and it's a clear day and it's sunny and you're like, wow, this is
terrible view.
Yeah. So it's pretty nice. It's not my view, but
not your view.
Yeah.
Ryan, thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe to the AudioVision Smart Stack for more insights on building smarter spaces.